All right, let's get more on this story. Now, our parliamentary reporter, Manelisi Dubase, joins us live from Cape Town. Hey, Manelisi, thank you very much indeed for your time. Well, I guess yesterday the opposition parties came out swinging, one would say, and some would say that the honeymoon period is all but over. What were some of the punchiest moments for you?
Blaine, you are right. Plain, you are right. I mean, the honeymoon clearly is over. I mean, judging by what happened yesterday, and the president has got so many questions to answer today. Good news is that today has been put aside mainly for him to go through all a plethora of questions that have been asked from him, ranging, of course, from the issues of NSFAS and the student debt in the tertiary institutions to his own personal issues of Busasa, as Mr. Malema has outlined there, that unless this thing is done and dusted, it will be quite very difficult to deal with issues pertaining to crime and other issues as to where this money will come from. For instance, of all these projects that he mentioned during the State of the Nation address, he mentioned, for instance, the issue of the technologically driven new city and the high-speed bulletproof train and other measures, including cutting the rate of crime by half, at least in the next 10 years, and providing young people with jobs, at least 2 million jobs in the next decade. It will be interesting how the president will go through all those questions. You'll remember that yesterday, Blaine, unlike as it usually traditionally happens, that the State of the Nation will be debated over 2 days. It was debated within a single day, over 9-hour period. In fact, even more than that, about 25 speakers. So it will be quite very interesting if the president will go through all those questions, because many of them were quite legitimate and very, very important questions.
Came out of the SONA, the State of the Nation address, was this 2 million jobs within a decade, within 10 years. I mean, what have you heard from analysts talking about this? Is it even plausible, considering the raft of companies that are retrenching and the amount of matriculants that are graduating every year?
Plain, that's the biggest conundrum, and you are right on the spot. I mean, that's what even some analysts are saying, that, I mean, if you talk about 2 million jobs in the next 10 years, already there are about more or less 8 million South Africans who've got no jobs. And exactly what we are saying, that with free education at tertiary level, I mean, within that 10 years' time, you'd obviously have about almost plus minus 5 million new entrants into the job markets. I mean, qualified people from these tertiary institutions. But over and above that, I mean, you could have heard yesterday that, for instance, the workers at Denel might have almost not got their full salaries. Over and above that, there is a jobs bloodbath in the manufacturing and the retail sectors, even in the media now. I mean, MultiChoice, TISO, all of these companies, they're talking about retrenching workers. So people say that this is almost impossible, that even if those jobs can be created, it will just be a drop in an ocean, because if you create 2 million, there will already be about 5 million more who have entered into the job market. So the people who have been talking with here, besides politicians, because politicians will be politicians, they say that this is quite impossible.
Yeah, look, the president got a lot of stick yesterday with regards to the so-called dream. How would you describe his demeanor there, Manelisi?
Well, he was quite very relaxed, you know. There were some times, especially when Malema raised the issue of Busasa, that you could see that the president, the reaction, you know, he was taking this issue quite seriously. What I don't understand, though, is whether he's going to dwell much on this thing, because you'll recall, Blaine, that he's got until Friday, that is this coming Friday, to respond adequately to the public protector on this matter. I don't don't know whether he can use this opportunity. I doubt very much that he can use the opportunity to dwell much on the questions that he still has to send to the public protector on Friday. But otherwise, he was very relaxed. I mean, most of the questions were quite legitimate questions, very, very constructive. And I think that what I could deduce out of this debate yesterday is that across the political spectrum, politicians realized that we are facing very, very, very serious challenges. The only thing that I could see here is the difference on the strategies and tactics as to how are we going to get out of this mess where we are, and in a manner that, we don't have our bloody nose.
Yeah. Look, the president's got a lot on his plate as well. He's heading to Japan for the G20 summit, so that's coming up. How do you think today will unfold in terms of going through his reply? You did mention this earlier on, and he normally calls out names of a person from a political party. Do you think he's going to be much of the same in a systematic way?
Plain, I doubt very much this time, as I just said, that, I mean, with 25 speakers, I doubt very much. I think he will be very choosy. I think his advisors are going to advise him carefully as to which answers he should answer and which leaders or individuals he can mention by names, because otherwise some of the questions, for instance, the one I just spoken about of Busasa, he might be very, very careful of saying anything more than, maybe acknowledging the question itself, but he might be very, very much, I suppose, reluctant to go into details on that. Some of the questions, of course, for instance, Pravin Gordhan came in on the issues of ESCOM, the unbundling of ESCOM and the work that has been done there. Pravin Gordhan quite went into details yesterday, so the president might not want to go back there, and some of the questions regarding the SAA, other bailouts and guarantees of the SOEs, he might really just leave those to the Minister of Finance, who will be here also in about a month or two to pass the mini budget.
Today we're running a poll question and we're asking, do you think the president should seriously consider some of the recommendations from the opposition party? We're going to put it up full screen now and I'll read it to you. And so far, 89% saying yes and 11% saying no, and 71 votes cast so far. So that's your opinion from the public. Just take us back inside Parliament yesterday and the EFF walking out when Pravin Gordhan stepped in. Take us through that.
Yeah, look, generally, let me just say, just put this into context, Blake, that generally the discussions were very constructive. But, I mean, you can't put that away or past the EFF that they might just throw one theatrical action or the other. Because why they were leaving the House yesterday, they are saying that Minister Pravin Gordhan is a constitutional delinquent. But, I mean, with all due respect to the EFF, Minister Gordhan has challenged the public protector's finding on this issue of the so-called rogue unity at SARS. And over and above that, even the people who started this story, they have since apologized and withdrew all those kind of things. And as soon as these matters are taken to review in the courts of law, I mean, you can't take anything against the minister until the court make a judgment on that or set them aside or uphold them. So the EFF, but anyway, I mean, they left the House yesterday because they're claiming that the minister is a constitutional delinquent.
Yeah, we're looking forward to the reply happening at 2 o'clock. Thank you very much indeed for your reporting. Manelisi Dubase live for us in Parliament in Cape Town.